everybody. Thank you for joining us for this special episode. It's episode 100 of Rock and Roll Shin-Soo. My name is Gabe Essel. I'm here with my co-hosts Dennis Levi Leach and Jonathan Getz. How's it going, guys?
Amazing.
Excellent.
Could be better.
That's right.
Yeah.
Well, good. Well, 100 episodes. You know, we've made it. We could practically be in syndication now.
Yes,
That's right.
That's when the real money starts coming in.
That's right. That's right. Look out. I got Seinfeld money's coming. All right. So, we realize that while some podcasts cruise right by these relatively modest anniversaries, even more never make it this far. So we're going to humbly celebrate episode 100 as an achievement in both our dedication and our unwavering desire to just shoot the shit about all things MLB and rock and roll. To celebrate, we're using this episode to start a countdown to the top 100 things we love about baseball and rock music. We don't know how many items we'll get through over the next hour, but we'll cover quite a bit of ground. We'll share things like our favorite live performances on a stage and historic moments on the diamond, the nostalgia of how things used to be and the advent of technology that changed the game. Though some of these items will be very personal, we know you'll be nodding right along with us as we take this journey. So while this is just episode 1 in our countdown series, it's episode 100 in our catalog. And whether this is your first episode, your 100th, or somewhere in between, we thank you for tagging along. Now let's have some fun out there. All right, so I'll go ahead and start. We're counting down from the bottom up. It looks that way. And the theme for my list is gratitude. So things I'm grateful for in baseball. Some of it and music. Some of it happened a while back ago, but a lot of it.
We hear you moving down that list.
Yes. Oh, okay. All right.
Sorry.
I thought you were just so excited that
I'm really hitting that down button. Yeah. Sorry. All right. Didn't know that was reverberating so much. But anyway, I'll start with the first here. I saw some heavy metal yesterday, and it was obviously classic metal. I saw Anthrax and Slayer at Riot Fest, but I'm thankful for the last probably, I would say, 10 years of heavy metal. I think it's been a pretty good time for it. It's kind of over the last 10 years I've reconnected with heavy metal. I was into it when I was and Justice for All, like when I was in 4th and 5th grade. And then, I always appreciated Sabbath and some other things. But probably about 10 years ago, I heard this band called The Sword that I know Levi's a fan of them.
We've talked about it on here before.
We've talked about them on here before. Yeah, they're from Texas. And I picked up their first record probably around the time it came out or so, maybe like 08, 09. And I really dug it. It really knocked me out. I thought, obviously, its influence. It's been influenced by a lot of the greats. Every party metal record that I like over the last 10 years kind of has Master of Reality as its blueprint. As one of its main sources of inspiration. But that got me into exploring a lot more bands in kind of the sort of stoner metal scene. But I just think the last 10 years of heavy metal have been really good. Obviously, I've talked about them on this show many times and through social media. I've got major figurative wood for this band Lopan out of Ohio. I think they're just fucking fantastic. If you haven't heard their latest LP, Subtle, pick it up. I think it's probably my favorite record of the year so far. And all their stuff is great, and they just keep evolving and they keep getting better. I think the lead singer probably has one of the best voices I've heard in years. And Torch as well is another band that has really meant a lot to me over the last few years. Their album Harmonicraft from 2012, I think, right around there, is one of my favorites. One of my favorite records of the last 10 years, probably. And then also, there's some other bands too, like that kind of fit that bill. There's a band I heard today called King Void. I don't know if you guys have heard them. They're really good. Yeah. They just came up as a recommendation, like on my streaming service. And also, there's some newer work from older acts. Like Tool just put out a new record that I like a lot. And they've always done innovative things. But yeah, big gap there. So in their work between the last album and this one. And then also, Opeth, I think, does interesting things. Lamb of God, Meshuggah, not that those bands are new by any means, but they're putting out really good work, I think. And I think that it really makes up for a really ugly period of heavy metal, like in the late 90s, the new metal era.
Early 2000s.
Yeah, late 90s, early 2000s, when you had sort of your Korns and your Limp Bizkits and Linkin Parks and then even like the little softer side of it, like Stained and shit. All that stuff was pretty wretched to me. And it was painful to have people call it heavy metal even. But I think the last 10 years have more than made up for that with some younger bands that haven't reached the popularity of some of those bands that I just mentioned from the late 90s, but that are still really making good music, and it makes me happy about the future of heavy metal too.
Yeah, I think the thing that has helped that scene the most is it seems like they have a greater understanding of like what their scene is and like how to connect more with the fans, it seems like. And like, I think they all have like realistic heads on their shoulders to where they realize no one's going to sell records the way they used to.
Absolutely. Yeah.
But like you can still like tour around and sell some albums and t-shirts and still make a living at it. And you know what I mean?
There'll always be people out there that want to buy a black t-shirt, so yeah. Right. But no, on that point too, Levi, I think about some of the older bands, like Slayer and Anthrax, they seem very comfortable in their own skin now too.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was. Yeah,
like they're veteran bands, they know what they're good at. A lot of those bands, those kind of titans of metal, the big four, Metallica, Megadeth, Slayer, Anthrax, all of them like at one point in time like tried to make kind of like, I'll put this term in quotes, kind of grunge sounding records when that was popular. Like Megadeth put out a pretty shitty record like in the late 90s. God, even like Iron Maiden flirted with that a little bit, like in like 92. Anthrax as well. But yeah, I think that all those veteran bands like now know what they're good at. Metallica especially. I mean, I know I'm not a fan of Load, Reload, as a lot of their fans aren't. But they put out that was it Wired record or what was it called?
There was like Saint Anger. Then there was
that one sucks.
Is it like Death Magnetic?
Yeah, which that one's better. And then the one that was, and then the one that came out just maybe
Hardwired to Self-Destruct.
Yeah, like within the last that one came out maybe like 2 years ago. That one's good. It's classic sounding Metallica. So, they don't feel the need to reinvent themselves. They don't have to. And I'm glad. It seems like all those older veteran metal bands are comfortable, just being who they are. And it's good. The product's good. I mean, the last Anthrax record, Worship Music. Or they might have one though. Kings. It had Kings in the title. I can't remember. They're good too. When they got Belladonna back, and they're just like, hey, let's just be who we are. So yeah, good stuff. So good times for heavy metal.
Yeah, item number 100.
Yeah,
top
100.
There we go. Yeah. And I think even Torch they made a late night show appearance, I believe. So they're gaining some traction.
Yeah, they are. Yeah, they were on something, maybe Seth Meyers or something like that.
Something,
within the last, recently. Yeah. So good for them.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. All right, so I'm number 99. And I'm switching over to baseball, and one of my favorite things about baseball is cream baseball uniforms. Not to be confused with white baseball uniforms,
nice,
but cream baseball uniforms. Yeah. So these are obviously, these are the off-whites. This isn't the Dodgers. This is the Giants. What the Giants will do, I think, with their home white. So visually, I think they make it. Cream baseball jerseys make it look like you're watching the romantic era of baseball.
I agree.
Like it does. Players just look so natural in cream jerseys, and you're just waiting for like Gil Hodges to run out there. But granted, he was wearing Dodger white. But so yeah, like the Giants and the Phillies pull off the creams. Even the Mariners did like a faux back, so like a fake throwback that was a cream with their current logo, but their vintage colors, which is very interesting. And it's beautiful, by the way. And there's just this softness to it that, while I really do love Dodger whites and all that, cream baseball uniforms just they feel right, like they're meant for baseball.
Yeah, like in my head, I hate to say it, but like when I think cream uniforms, I think Cardinals. Because it seemed like for a long time back in the day, the Cardinals had them, and then they would they'll whip them out for the throwbacks.
Yeah.
And so got the old school, the birds on the bat and the cream and
dude. I know it's fun to see the Cardinals not do well because they've done well for so long, but their jerseys that they've been using lately, the cream ones that say St. Louis on them instead of Cardinals, I think those are some of the best jerseys I've ever seen.
Really?
Yeah. I'm going there.
They're cream colored and they're away jerseys then, or they're home jerseys?
I don't know for sure if they wear them home or away. And I also don't know for sure if they're historically accurate. I don't know if this was actually a uniform that they wore back in the day, or if it's just something that they extrapolated from the Cardinals and creating a script font for St. Louis. But
it's like I'm on Fanatics right now, and it's advertised as an alternate jersey.
As an alternate, so not necessarily a throwback.
So so it's got a retro look to it, but I think it's an alternate jersey.
Yeah. I saw a reference on UniWatch, which is a great website, uniwatch.com. He's also got an ESPN column. And he was talking about not just this Cardinals jersey, but others. And apparently they have people in the front office who are very cognizant of jerseys and what makes a beautiful jersey. So I wouldn't be surprised if they were able to create this out of the blue. But regardless, I think it's wonderful.
Nice.
Yeah, good stuff. Number 99. Well, number 98 for me is it's easy. It was the first way that I was able to carry music around, and that was cassettes. My first portable music, and it was also one of those things to where it was probably the only thing that got me through mowing my yard like every 4 days in the summer when I was a kid. So, I would just strap on the headphones, throw in a tape in the Walkman, and I'll never forget the first Christmas I was like into tapes. Because at that point I hadn't really owned any of my own records. I had some 45s and a little 45 player that was like handed down to me from my sister. But tapes were like the first way I was able to like buy music I wanted, and so I'll never forget. I got that first Christmas on tape. I got MC Hammer, Vanilla Ice, EMF Schubert Dip. What else? And then
I don't know, Levi. This list sounds kind of unbelievable to me.
But then the other one, what's great, like the other one was, I think it was like Garth Brooks or something. Like it was like.
What was it? No Fences, Garth Brooks?
Yeah. Or the first one, I can't remember, but
Fresh Horses.
Like cassettes to me were just like one of those things where it was finally like, I have music that I actually like. Like I don't just have to listen to the radio on my Walkman or whatever, It was it was a liberating time.
Those were your first cassettes, right?
Yeah.
Ted?
Yeah.
Jonathan, your first cassette was Whitesnake?
Yeah, Whitesnake.
All right, mine was David Lee Roth, Eat 'em and Smile.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll also admit to Bryan Adams Waking Up the Neighbors. That was one of my first cassettes too.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. So, Levi, do you remember the Walkman that you had?
Oh yeah, it was an actual Sony, and believe it or not, it's still at my mom's house somewhere.
Awesome.
Yeah, who knows if it still works? Like the little rubber bands inside are probably all dried out, but yeah, it like that was the thing with electronics of like the late 80s, early 90s. Like if you bought decent brand stuff like Sony back then, it seemed like that stuff would last forever, basically.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? The one of the worst things that that happened to a lot of those was like people would leave batteries in them for like a long time, and then the next thing you know, you go to use it and like the battery,
it's like sizzling. Yeah,
like the compartments like full of like all the corrosion and stuff. So yeah,
I mean, the sweatshops back then just had higher standards. All right, I mean, come on,
right? Sony had their shit together.
Yeah, and I think right now they're celebrating the 40th anniversary with a big display in Tokyo of all of the Walkmans.
Nice.
Yes, they're like it's a total collectible thing now. There are certain Walkmans that are worth like hundreds of dollars.
Sure.
Especially if you have like the packaging, they could be worth like $1,000.
Wow.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. There's a market for pretty much everything. But like
yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Well, I was just going to say, like, in the last 15 years, like, electronics have become collectible, it seems like, worldwide. Whereas at one time, like, collecting old electronics was kind of maybe just kind of like a USA thing, I think. But I think over time now, it seems like whether it's anything US or Japanese, like, everything's going to every country. You know what I mean? There are people in the USA ordering old Japanese electronics to collect and have here. And then there are people buying, stuff from here that was made here in electronics to have overseas. You know what I mean? It's just neat how it's become like this huge worldwide thing about vintage electronics.
Do you remember Walkman had like this line that was like they went everything yellow for a while?
Oh,
do you remember that?
Like they sports.
Yeah, the sports. Yeah, right. Because they had the Gary Hoey guitar song on the commercial, I think.
Yep. Oh yeah.
Summer Song, I think it's called, or Summer Tune. That's it's like
because nothing says sports like School Bus Yellow. Yeah.
Right. Well, in the late 80s, yeah. So what explains the cassette comeback?
Who knows, man? That, to me, I think part of it is a generation that you know what I mean, that grew up with no real physical format. You know what I mean? We were always tied to a format, whether, the people a little bit older than us were tied to records. We were tied to cassettes, then CDs. And then I think this younger generation never really latched on to CDs ever.
Yeah.
So I think in their eyes, this is like a neat way to have physical music. And it's always been one of the most affordable ways to get your music out there. You know what I mean? You can rip off and dupe cassettes for a lot cheaper than you can, making 7-inch records and handing them out. I mean,
sure. Yeah, you can't cut a 7-inch.
It used to be all about the CDR, but no one's handing out CDRs anymore, really.
Yeah.
The only bad thing about cassettes growing up was like if there were songs on the cassette that you didn't like always like getting the fast forward right and the weird rewrite.
And supposedly there was some functionality that would fast forward to the very next track.
I have it.
Yeah.
No, it works. I have a Yamaha tape deck that in like 1988 was probably like $750.
Right.
And so it does it, man. You can hit. I forget what they call the technology on it, but you can hit it to where it'll go to the next track. Yeah. And basically what the technology does is it looks for like low signal level on the tape.
Sure.
So, you know what I mean? It looks for a break in between the songs. So if you were listening to like a dead tape or a live tape, it might not work that well.
Yeah, right.
Levi, you've got like in the movie Wall Street, Charlie Sheen had like a that kick-ass stuff from 1985. Like you're like Charlie Sheen's like condo in Wall Street for all your equipment, dude.
To work on, I tried to incorporate elements of Charlie Sheen and American Psycho into the greatest stereo system ever assembled.
That's right. That's awesome. Levi's right out of Manhattan in 1987. Right? Talking on a huge phone. And
if the shit still works, why not?
He's got like a suit on with huge shoulder pads. He's like talking on the phone. Hey. Having lunch at the Four Seasons, right?
I talk to you guys
little bump on his nose right there, right?
Can I talk to you guys about some penny stocks? You know what I mean?
Right. Long Island News. Insider trader Levi Leach arrested today on insider trading charges. Anyway, sorry. I'm just playing a whole scene in my head now,
Yeah.
Of like Ted Koppel announcing your arrest or something, Levi. So anyway, I'll stop there. I've created a whole film now. Jesus.
No, I think we should derail this and just start to work on the script.
Right.
So a quick last question about cassettes. Do they still make in-dash cassette players for cars?
I think that's gone, man.
Yeah. Do you think that's how we start to make our thousands?
Right? Could be.
Let's get that hipster money.
Yeah.
It's really hard to get a brand new car with a CD player nowadays. I don't know if you tried, but
we did a couple years ago. Yeah.
It's tough, man. Like none of the Toyota. I have a 2018 Camry hybrid, and like none of them on the lot had CD players.
Wow.
And if you wanted to get one, it was going to be like another, because it was part of some package that was like $3,000, and it's like, well, I don't need a $3,000 CD player.
Yeah. And then they're putting like a 6-disc changer in your trunk. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, that's no fun. Yeah. Nice choice, cassettes.
Cool.
So, Gabe, you're up number 97, I think.
97.
Okay. All right. 97.
Tricking the ball down the field.
Yeah. I'm going to this one won't. I'm not going to spend long on this one, but just going up my list. It seems like, growing up, we didn't hear a lot about players' struggles with mental health, and I feel like now there's there's still a cliche, a long way to go with it. I feel like we've seen over the years, like, more players mentioning that, and that there's maybe a little more comfort in coming out about that, and you see players taking time off or dealing with depression and anxiety and just being, I guess, maybe a little more forthright about those things, and I think that's good to see. I hope it leads to more acceptance. I know that's kind of a sort of a little more of a somber topic on the list, but a guy I thought about that was one of the first people to do that I recall, at least in recent years, although I'm sure there were others. But I don't know if you guys remember that guy that played for the Padres and then he played for the Cardinals for a little while, named Khalil Green. Do you guys remember that guy?
Yeah. He had like a good mane.
Yeah, good mane, kind of good looking kid. Interesting guy. He's also, God, I'm gonna butcher the title, but there's a temple up like in Evanston or Skokie, I think. He's is it Baha'i? I think. He's
what Seals and Croft for.
Yeah, he belongs to that religion as well. So he just always seemed like a fascinating dude, and he kind of, like, the mental health thing kind of derailed his career. And I don't necessarily know if he was that vocal about it, or just I remember hearing about the story, and it kind of was some of his undoing while he was playing. So I'm glad now that, like, a few years later, because he was only in the league for a handful of years, And he had like a good rookie year and then kind of tapered off after that. But I'm just glad to see it, glad to hear it, because it's good for the game and good for the players.
Oh yeah. It's always good anytime, like, I don't know, like bullshit machismo walls can get knocked down.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like,
yeah, totally.
For so long, it was like totally taboo to talk about anything emotional as a baseball player. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. Mm-hmm. And I hope that that is fading. It's probably not totally where it needs to be. There's probably people that still get flack for it, or maybe feel like they can't be that transparent about it. But I'm glad that we're starting to see some more progress in that area.
Yeah, I mean, not just with not just in baseball, but outside general life. People just talk about it like an illness, like it's any other that you need to address and not be ashamed of. And of course, here in Kansas City, the one that comes to mind is Zach Greinke. He took a lot of time off. He missed a lot of the was it 06 season. Battling, as social anxiety disorder, and I think he was diagnosed with depression, and in a couple of years he won the Cy Young Award after that. So it really goes to show, what you just pause, take a step back, and gather yourself, to put it very, very generally, and then people, the teams, the franchise is waiting for you when you want to come back, and not a day sooner than you're ready, and it paid off in aces, quite literally, for the Royals. So it was, and Greinke I've always found to be one of the more fascinating players in baseball. Certainly one of the more cerebral. Coincidentally, I don't know, and I've always rooted for him as a result. Like, I root for those players more that show that depth of character than I do just, the guys who are kind of your square jawed, taking it one game at a time. But when Greinke, takes a step back and he opens up a little bit, it's hard not to root for him, just all the more.
Yeah, I've always liked him as well. For that reason, seems like he just a little, I don't know, seems a little more human than some of the others, Yeah. And that Khalil Green, I just read, I mentioned him a minute ago. He was actually even had issues with cutting himself too.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So he's been through a lot. He also writes hip hop lyrics in his spare time, according to his Wikipedia page. So yeah, I hope, if he's, obviously he's been away from baseball for a while, and I think he's probably quiet, but I hope he's doing well, because I always think about him when I hear about mental health issues in the game. So
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, good choice. Good choice. So in a not so elegant segue, number 96. I'm switching back over to the rock realm, and mine is getting a crush on a song. So that's one of my favorite things in music. Is I don't know if you guys have experienced this like I have, but where you hear a song and you just can't wait to listen to it again. And not, I mean, I want to say it's different than like a top 40 way. It's in this way that, it's not the hook necessarily. It's just something more deeply ingrained in the song that speaks to you, and it might be a new song. Like, I remember when my Morning Jackets album Z came out. I think it was Z Dundante that finishes off that record. Dundante just like, it slayed me for 2 weeks, and it's fleeting at the same time. So it's a crush, right? Like crushes don't stay crushes; they evolve, right? And so it's fleeting, and you just have to appreciate those listens, because you aren't going to have many of them before it becomes a song you still like, but you just don't like it in the same way that you did like the first, say, a dozen times you heard it. This has also happened to me with an old song, Led Zeppelin's Physical Graffiti. I listened to that like more than any other album in like 2004, I think it was. Like that was at the top of my year-end list was Physical Graffiti. But In the Light was the song that I grew the crush on, and I still feel it every now and again when I hear it. But yeah, there were several months there when In the Light just absolutely slayed me. So did you guys ever experience this with any songs?
Yeah, I feel like I fall in love with songs, or like, the first time you hear something really good that you're just like, wow, and you need to hear it again and again and again and again. One of those is over the last year or two was a song, and I'm trying to remember where I heard like a clip of it in a commercial, but it's a song called Burning Soul by a group called the Soul Blenders, and it's like all I could find out was like it was a 45 that got released like at some point in I think the 2000s, but it was like I think a reissue of like a lost recording because it sounds like it's from like the 60s. And it's just like straight ahead, just kick-ass soul with the horns driving and stuff. And yeah, the first time I heard that clip, like I'll do that. I'll hear a little bit of a song somewhere, and then I'll be like, man, I got to hear that song again. What was that song? So then I'm like Googling, typing in the one sentence I can remember, trying to find the lyrics. Then I'll find what it is, and then I'll just drown myself in that song for like a week straight. Not like it's not like the only thing I listen to for a week straight, but you know what I mean? Like I will listen to it quite a few times a day.
Yeah.
And that's definitely one of the ones of the last, and another one that happened. I'm man enough to admit this now. I'm almost 40. I was in a grocery store in Colorado when we were on vacation, and I heard the littlest clip of It Don't Mean Nothing by Richard Marx.
Oh yeah.
And I'm like, man, dude, that song I never really noticed. It kind of sounds like the Eagles or whatever, and sure as shit, if you look at it, he's part of the Eagles are on it. And so, yeah, I fell in love with it, and I had to hear it for like a week straight, like 3 times a day. I don't know why.
Yeah, it just happens. Yeah. You don't try to explain it. Just roll with it. You just got to feed it.
And that's always the best, though, because like, you don't always connect that deep with certain songs or albums. And anytime you can, it's just like, wow.
Yeah, you have to recognize.
Well, what's one of yours, Gabe?
Lately, gosh.
Or it could be all time, like a song you just remember you had to listen to like over and over. It could be live if it's like a certain live Crows cut.
Yeah. What was the Crows tune you would go to at Western Illinois after a long day? You got to queue up.
Gosh, it's kind of it might be one that you might not expect. Actually, Better When You're Not Alone.
That's a good tune.
I really love that song. It's I've mentioned it I think before when we've talked about them, just how underrated of a tune I think it is in their catalog. It's certainly one of their simpler tunes, lyrically, but yeah, it just really works for me. I love Mark's solo in it. I love the congas that come in. Yeah, it's just such a good tune. So that was probably that's a go-to for me. Like I'll listen to the song sometimes rather than the whole record, even though that's one of my favorite records of all time.
Sure.
I will put on that tune. So yeah, that's one. There's a guy named Todd Snyder. You guys know who he is. He has a song called "The Devil You Know" that when it came out, I listened to the shit out of it. It's the title track from the record of the same name. It's from like 2006, maybe something like that, around then. And it's just such a good story. It's such he just like really says it at like a breathtaking pace, or it's not breathtaking pace, but just a really, really rapid pace, I should say. Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's yeah, it's just that's another one that I go to quite a bit. Like I was looking at when I stopped looking at when I stopped using iTunes, I noticed that that was like the song I played the most, I think.
Sure.
Like after one on my count, and I played it. Oh, sorry, breathless was the word I was looking for. I said breathtaking, totally different. It's a very breathless. It's a very breathless pace. The song is. So give it a spin.
Right on, I will. Yeah.
Cool.
Nice.
Well, good
All right,
deal.
Levi.
So, yeah, what are we, like 95?
No, 95 at the top
Yeah,
100.
I think I have to mention, may it forever rest in peace. One of the things I loved the most about baseball was my Benito Santiago Cubs jersey. and I have talked about this. I know I've mentioned this at least once in one of the episodes. And just for all the listeners out there, we've talked about some of this stuff over the years before, I'm sure. But how I got it was not the proudest moments, but skipping school a lot when I was supposed to be in DeVry and going to Cubs games during the day. And after one game, it was the year Benito Santiago was on the Cubs, where it may have only been like a half a year. I don't even know if he was on there a full year. But
he was on there for just the 1999 season, 109 games he was on the Cubs.
And so after one of the games one day, we're leaving and we're out on the street back behind the bleachers. And a guy has a cardboard box full of Benito Santiago jerseys with the sewn-on letters, like it's like these are the real jerseys. And he's like, Benito Santiago jerseys, $25 a piece. And I'm like, hell yes, give me a Benito Santiago jersey.
Man, he was all in on Benito.
And so, because they were $25 too. Like even at that time, real jerseys were still probably like $100 or something.
Oh yeah, if not more, yeah.
Yeah,
and
so like I wore it for years. He was gone within the next season, but like I wore it proudly for years. And one time I let a friend wanted to go as a baseball player or something for Halloween, and I let him wear it, and then I never saw it again. And then it was one of those friends that you just never see again. You stop hanging out. And so, I never got it back.
Oh, bummer. Oh, man.
Yeah, my Benito Santiago Cubs jersey.
Is it number 0? Was it number 0?
I don't remember what his number was.
It looks like on the Cubs he was number 9.
I was going to say 9. I thought it was 9.
Because he had 0 for a while. I thought
according to Baseball Reference, he was 9 for most of his career, though he did have other numbers. I don't see 0.
Okay, all right. I thought he was a 0. He did it for a while. Guy played so long.
Well, like anytime I would see someone a catcher stick their leg out, I'd be like, oh, they're doing the Benito.
Oh, when he's squatting down to receive the
catch. Yeah, because he would do that all the time.
Yeah. It's funny because that was his age 34 season he was with the Cubs, so it's not like he was fresh off the Padres, 4-time All-Star, and so somebody may have thought that he was still
a grizzled veteran. And what's funny is we were into grizzled veteran catchers because not long after him we had Jason Kendall for a while too.
Oh yeah.
All right. Yeah.
It was kind of mandatory that you had to be a grizzled veteran to be the catcher for the Cubs for a while.
Santiago played until he was age 40, which is a long time for a catcher. He played with the Royals in his age 39 season in 2004.
Wow, I could not have told you that.
I don't remember him on Kansas City at all. No,
he batted .274 that year, which is an OPS plus of 91, so just below average.
274, that's like Babe Ruth for a catcher,
Yeah, age 39. Come on, man. Yeah.
Maybe was he not the starting catcher that year?
Oh no, he only caught 49 games.
Okay.
Or played in 49 games, I should say.
Yeah. Right. Cool.
Yeah.
So 94, Gabe.
All right. Here we go. All right, I'll use the mouse so you don't hear my scrolling. Okay. Yeah, my next one is sort of a local thing, or local for us, I guess, from where we're growing up. I like the fact that there seems to be kind of a growing live music scene, at least in terms of the artists that can book in Central Illinois. I think that Springfield's a little behind, but I think Peoria and Bloomington are doing, some really cool things. Like a couple venues have opened in Peoria that are booking national touring acts, and then you got the Castle Theater in Bloomington, which like the bands that they're pulling in, like I'm like shocked. I'm like, damn, like Courtney Barnett's playing there in a few months. Like the War on Drugs played there last year, or the year before.
Central Illinois really needed a venue like that, and they were smart to step up as the town to do it.
Absolutely.
Springfield had the opportunity; they could have probably done it too. But
yeah, right, because all those cities are about the same size.
Yeah, Springfield does get some national acts. We just had the old 97s and who was with them? I can't even remember now. But it was like the old 97s are pretty big for Americana.
Yeah, right. Yeah, Rhett Miller. So it's cool to see. And then also some people we know, that are bringing in some kind of Americana acts to towns by us as well. The
Springfield early this summer. Oh, sorry. I was going to say early this summer, Springfield had the Dirty Dozen Brass Band for free downtown, and it was excellent.
Nice. Yeah. So it's good to see. I forgot what the name of the venue is called in Peoria. I think Marcus King Band played there fairly recently.
Oh, is it the smaller, not like the Peoria Civic Center?
No. It's not the theater within the Civic Center either.
Okay.
No. This is a different place, but sorry, I should have looked it up. But yeah, the Castle Theater is, some of the acts that like Magpie Salutes played there. Mother Hips. I think Jason Isbell played there. Yeah. It's really cool that they're. I think St. Vincent maybe even might have played there.
Wow.
Maybe. Don't quote me on that one, but obviously Bloomington or Normal, it's got the biggest college. A bigger college than either of those other two cities have. So maybe that makes sense. You got a big state school there, whereas Springfield doesn't have a college of that size, and Bradley isn't that large either. But still, yeah, it's really cool to see. I think
Kenny's West Side Pub.
There we go. Yeah, Kenny's West Side Pub. Yeah, Marcus King Band played there like earlier this year.
Never heard of it.
So yeah, really really cool stuff going on in a couple of those towns. So
yeah, the Riverfront Peoria gets some really good acts.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
and
there we go. Yeah.
Coming up this fall at UIS here in Springfield at the auditorium, we have Joe Bonamassa, Vince Gill is coming, and Boz Scaggs.
Nice.
Yeah, so there's the acts are there. It's just a matter of getting people to come.
Right.
Sure.
Right. And it seems like the Castle Theater probably can get some of the younger acts. Like obviously they're getting Courtney Barnett. Yeah. Which is really cool. Never thought like, I might drive down to Normal for a show, which I probably won't, but yeah, but nonetheless. So yeah,
it's encouraging, and it's an uphill battle though. With Chicago and St. Louis right there, Indianapolis on one side, I guess Quad Cities on the other side. It's not an easy get to make a band think to stop.
Yeah. Springfield's concert days, were better back in the day, so to speak. Mm-hmm. 70s and 80s. Yeah. And then kind of really, I think when we were growing up, those were probably some of the more dormant years for it. We had a few.
Didn't a Foghat play in
Petersburg,
in outside Petersburg at the Jamboree or something?
Yeah, Head East played there too.
East, yeah.
So
I remember I drove to Auburn, Illinois once to see the Dave Nelson Band.
Oh, from
New Riders of the Purple Sage.
Right.
Yeah, which was kind of different.
Yeah. No, it's cool. I mean, it seems like there can be like some DIY efforts, you know. If you look at, it's. I mean, I guess there's a concert space attached to it now, but I mean, look at what they were doing up at Jonathan mentioned the Quad Cities with the Day Trotters stuff.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. Right.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
And that's happening in Rock Island. So. Neat, it's really neat.
There's a venue about an hour north of the Quad Cities, I think. That it's like this farm estate, right? Barn, and Conor Oberst was playing there. He may have already played there, and they've got lots of big acts.
Bon Iver played there, I think.
Yeah. It looks like a beautiful place. It's just a pain in the ass to get to from here.
Right.
Go.
But yeah, so that's cool. I mean, if those folks can make it work. More power to them.
Yeah, it's good. Real love. Yeah, keep up the good work.
Right. So, Central Illinois resurgence in music, the music scene in Central Illinois.
All right, number 94. So, number 93. I'm going back to baseball here, and this harkens back to my ages, probably 8 to 12. About every month, I would, in the mail, I would receive a catalog known as Manny's Baseball Land. And I don't know if you guys received this, but no, I don't think a lot of people did.
No, I had never heard of it until I saw it on your list. And then I did a little research and was like, well, how did I miss this?
Right? Yeah. Oh, man, I would relish every edition that came in, even though they were hardly different one from the next. Right. And, but just flipping through it, you would spend your allowance in so many ways, and in theory, you would be like, oh, should I get a hat, or should I, should I save up for a jersey? Should I get a caricature shirt? But what I found kind of the most fascinating thing that I never really pulled the trigger on were the minor league baseball hats that were just fascinating.
I remember that.
Because it was the Lug Nuts and all those teams that had these really unique
Mudcats and
and they were so much fun to look at. But then you would finally place an order, and I think you would like phone in the order and
get it like 2 years later.
Well, that's what it felt like. It was 7 to 10 business days or whatever, and like every day, because inevitably you would order it during the summer, when you're just home all the time, and you're just like, as soon as you hear that mailbox shut at like 11 a.m., you're running up there to see if it was there. And no, it's not there. It's only been like a day.
Yeah, I mean, you can't track it, like you can now. Yeah.
and so finally, 2 weeks would pass, and it would come, and it would be the greatest thing. It would be Christmas in July or whatever, right? And eventually, Manny's Baseball Land was, I think, swallowed by. It wasn't East Bay. There was another larger catalog out at the time, and it just occurred to me. Otherwise, I would have researched this, and so I might have to look that up. I did find one link to somebody scanned an entire catalog from like '99 on their Flickr account, and that's way after me. I think I stopped receiving it by the time I was in high school. For that, so but I might have to do some digging.
Do you remember anything specifically you ordered from there?
A Red Sox hat. Yeah, I got the Red Sox hat with it was
because this would have probably been the time when you couldn't find a Red Sox hat at the mall or something, right?
Yeah, right. Yeah,
there was no lids.
But I remember it was this would probably tell what year it was, but so it was a fitted Red Sox hat. So like I had my mom like measure my head and then it came with a gold medallion. It was right after they started putting the MLB PA logo or the MLB logo back. They started doing that in like the mid 90s, early mid 90s. But they had an anniversary a bronze anniversary pin that you could put over that. And I forget what anniversary it was. I would have to do that research as well. So that would tell what year it was. But that was probably one of the. I haven't thought about that pen in 20 years until right now. And I wonder where it is. But and that for some reason, like that Red Sox hat, I never really wore. I didn't like the fit of it. It was really big in front, like
Right.
And I probably should have like some people would cut out the backing in the front that made it really stiff.
Oh
and,
yeah.
I should probably go home and do that. I still do have it in my childhood bedroom, just gathering dust and practically mint condition. So yeah,
sell that.
Probably could. Yeah, just got to find the pen. I could sell it for at least $12 more. So, so yeah, Manny's Baseball. And did you guys get catalogs for sports memorabilia?
No, man. That was something that I subscribed to Beckett, which is
same
one of
here.
the things.
Sure.
I was going to segue into that. That was one of the things I got. That was basically that. I want to say for a little while I might have subscribed to Tough Stuff. Do you guys remember that?
Tough Stuff, yes.
Do you remember Tough Stuff?
Yes.
Yeah.
Tough. Yeah.
They were like a crappy Beckett.
Yeah.
Yeah, vaguely.
Yeah.
Vaguely, I remember Tough
absolutely.
Stuff.
Oh
Yeah.
man, Tough Stuff. That's man.
So yeah, that was going to be my next number. My number.
Oh, I'd say go for it. Use the segue.
Yeah. Beckett, man, it was the best. You were with that catalog. I was with Beckett every month. Waiting.
So explain to our audience what Beckett is.
So
Right.
Beckett, for those that do not know, was a price guide. Is a price guide. I have no idea if they still actually make it. But it was like the gateway of how you knew what cards were worth, or they would also have little articles about what cards were hot, what cards were not. They'd have little articles about how to spot counterfeit cards, because that was huge. All the famous rookie cards were getting counterfeited at that time. And then
the back was the updated price guide.
The price guide was it, man. You would just look in there and you'd be like, oh, my card has an up arrow next to it.
Oh yeah, right. They would have the up and the down.
You're like, oh, book the cruise.
Keep swinging, Juan Gonzalez. Keep swinging.
But now I think if you looked in a new issue, all the cards would have down arrows.
I assume after a while they'd stop printing the arrows when most of them were down arrows. Got to keep morale high. You don't want everybody to cash out.
Originally it was just baseball, but Beckett became so popular that there was Beckett football, and I remember
there was hockey
basketball.
too. Yeah,
hockey.
Too. Yeah,
and so it was
Beckett pound puppies.
Good, man. Finally a Pound Puppies reference.
Yeah. I think I also had the Beckett Masters of the Universe as well, because I had a lot of Masters.
Yeah. Those are probably worth more now than they are your baseball cards.
Right. Yeah. Well, and I had kept maybe over the course of however many I got all those years, but I had kept maybe a half dozen Beckett's that I just liked. Ones that had Ryan Sandberg on them, or Cal Ripken Jr., or there was one with Bo Jackson stepping out of a telephone booth in a Superman outfit.
Oh, it was. I think it was an Auburn outfit.
Or I don't know.
Yeah, but it was he was dressed like Superman. You're right. Yeah.
There's one where there's a Beckett where he has a cape on and a spandex.
I know what you're talking about. And then I the only Beckett I kept was my black and white Bo Jackson one with the the shoulder pads and the bat. Yeah.
Yeah, and so they're not worth anything. I was like, oh, maybe these old Beckett's are worth something.
No.
Gabe, you're right. It is in January of '91, Beckett was on, Bo was on the cover of Beckett Football card monthly in an Auburn, in a Superman outfit that has the Auburn logo.
Okay, so yeah, we were both
stepping out of a phone booth with the black and silver, presumably Raiders jersey hanging on it behind him.
Yep.
And it just says Bo with an exclamation point in the corner.
Totally off topic. Do you guys remember there was a cartoon on NBC for a while where it was Bo Jackson, Michael Jordan, and Wayne Gretzky? No.
Yes, I do.
Like it was it was really short lived, and it was only on I think NBC.
Pro Stars.
Is that what it is? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Dude,
and you're exactly right. Those three.
It was weird, man. It was weird.
Yeah.
For some reason, that just totally made me think of that.
I've never seen it, I don't think. Wow. All right. There's a YouTube rabbit hole for you. I think you can find it on there.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah. At least the theme song. Wow. That's a good one.
Sweet.
Yeah, Beckett. Yeah, I never. I would rarely own a Beckett. I would usually just go to the card store and bum theirs and look up some stuff and then write it down.
Like, get your grubby hands off that Beckett.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, it was also at the era where like everywhere had a magazine rack. Do you remember like every grocery store had a magazine rack full of like, it would literally be like a wall, an aisle of magazines.
Mm-hmm.
And then like, it was everywhere. Like you could get Beckett everywhere. It seemed like for a while.
At least the baseball and maybe the football one. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, definitely.
I mean, they even sold it at the little tiny Larry's IGA in Chatham. They got Beckett.
Yeah. I'm sure they had it in Petersburg. Yeah. Yeah. Good
yeah,
one.
I subscribed probably 89 to 90.
Oh, you subscribed?
Yeah, I subscribed to Beckett.
Yeah, I was a subscriber. Yeah, it was.
Yeah, the Bo Jackson one, the black and white one. It was so coveted that at first I didn't get it. So my mom had to call Beckett, and they sent it special, and they sent it first class.
Whoa!
So it was
for it.
Yeah, it was in a special envelope and everything. It was
wow.
It was such a coveted issue,
People were swiping the boat.
Yeah, right.
Oh yeah, that was when you could sell Beckett's for money. People wanted to collect Beckett's.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Is that the?
Oh, I'm sorry. I was just going to say that should have all let us in on a little peek into the industry for the fact that the guide that tells you what stuff is worth is now collectible. They have hyped up the hobby that much. You know what
There's
I mean?
a bubble here. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
We all should have seen that, but we did not.
Yeah, let's put out a monthly glossy publication for hockey cards, right?
Yeah. So is that the original usage of the Bo photo or was it the card with the black and white photo of him with the shoulder pads?
The card was a score, right? I think, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know if they just mimicked it or it was the same photo shoot or they just duplicated it for the cover. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
That card is from 1990. What year was that issue?
Around the same time.
June of 90.
So yeah, it could have been. They could have came out together, I guess.
Well, you would assume though that the card would have come out in say April or March. When cards were originally released.
True. Right. So maybe the card was first, and then it was so iconic that they put it on the cover.
I think we need a 30 for 30 just for the photo.
Well, a 30 for 30 short at least. Yeah.
All-time classic sports photo, no doubt.
Wonder if in the last 10 years he's ever been asked to recreate that photo.
Oh yeah, guys are getting a selfie and here, take this broom and put it on your shoulders.
Yeah, right.
Or just I'm surprised no Sports Illustrated or some magazine or something hasn't come to him and been let's recreate that iconic photo.
Levi, let's start Crash baseball card shows with cosplay, right? And we dress you up as Bo, and you just walk around the entire time like that. You're the Bo cosplay. I'll be the Billy Ripken cosplay, holding the baseball bat. Yeah.
He never became really a superstar. But last thing about Beckett, sorry. I mentioned Central Illinois earlier. Kevin Seitzer was on the cover of a Beckett. When he was on the
really?
Royals.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I don't know if Seitzer still lives here in Kansas City, but he has a batting cage here. The Mack and Seitz batting cages.
Wasn't he the Royals hitting coach for a little while?
He was, yeah.
Yeah.
You ever go hit a bucket of balls there, Jonathan?
I'm going to. Yeah. I'm looking forward to it. Yeah,
Beckett was always, really high on prospects. It was like,
oh yeah,
that was where I first heard of Todd Van Poppel.
Sure.
Well, and a lot of people think that they were like the ones that you know what I mean? They were like pushing the business. They were the ones, They were creating the hype around certain players, which then created the hype around the cards, which then got people to go to the stores to buy the packs. It was it was almost like legal insider trading. You know what I mean?
Kind of. Yeah.
Right. And then they were creating these subjective prices.
Exactly.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Oh, you get an arrow. You get a down arrow. No, you get an up arrow.
Are you really calling baseball card stores around the country and polling how much they're selling each of these cards for and creating an average? Right. I doubt it.
Right? Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Beckett had some pull.
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah, I might be investigated after this episode.
Well, no, there's a reason why Upper Deck, I think, isn't allowed to make baseball cards anymore. They can do other sports, I believe, but there was a whole issue with Upper Deck and Beckett kind of getting in trouble, I think, for almost market. Market adjusting and fixing and all that and stuff.
Yeah. I think we call Michael Lewis and get him on this for his next book.
Yeah,
right.
MLB has they have had for a while now. Topps is exclusive. When it comes to all the MLB logos and stuff. And just in the last 5 to 8 years or something, Panini has come along, redoing and coming out with Donruss cards, but they can't use any of the logos or anything.
Yeah, it's just not the same without the logo. Yeah.
If my card doesn't have a little hologram on it to tell me it's not counterfeit, I don't want
it. How am I supposed to know if I could really, in theory, sell it for as much as Beckett says I can?
Exactly. I gotta see that little hologram.
Did you guys ever sell a card?
To a shop or something?
Yeah.
You mean
Yeah.
Probably.
Yeah. Funny how you don't know for sure if you did.
No.
I don't. I think all mine was buying.
Ours was an economy of trades,
Right.
So I don't think so.
I remember trading at some holidays with you and our cousin Justin. Justin would have a binder, and he was older than the both of us, so I think he would always try to dick us over on trades.
Yeah. I remember one day I went to, you guys remember B&J Coin Shop in Springfield, right? Yeah.
It was basically one of the only card stores in Central Illinois at that time.
It was one of the first ones, and then the others came, after.
There were a few.
It was the first, yeah. And I remember I took my book in there, and the guy was like, "Oh, well, if you leave it here overnight, I'll price it out for you." I'm like, "Fuck you! All right, I'm down." I'm not. Right? I'm like,
you're these are my babies.
Here. I was in 4th, 5th grade at the time. I was like, no.
You're like, good.
So just the fact of somebody handling my cards and leaving it there overnight.
No way.
So that was no. So I any thoughts I had of selling any of them, and I think probably I just wanted to sell them to buy more cards. I think what crossed my mind to even go in there with the book and with the intent of selling anything, it was probably just so I could buy more.
You're like, that box of Desert Storm cards is looking good.
Right. Need all those Norman Schwarzkopfs.
I did have a low point when I was probably around 11 or 12, where I was my parents had cut me off for allowance to spend on cards, and I was taking in any card to just to trade for more packs. That's all I wanted was more packs. Right. And it was really sad. I was taking in I don't know if you remember they had like the X-Men like Magneto holograms. I was taking in Magneto holograms to trade, and Merle's looking at me like, dude, what are you thinking? No.
He's like, what are you doing, kid? What are you doing? You're throwing away your life, kid.
I'm not going to give you a Magneto for a Kevin Moss, okay? All right.
Come on. Those were the days.
Good shit.
Shit. God, it's what do we get through about 4 items, guys? So
down to number 91. We're at an hour.
Okay.
Episode.
So everybody's gonna have to like speak in haikus, all right, for volume 2, all right. But hey, it was fun.
It was.
So I do need to cut her short there.
We'll stop there. That's a good point.
Yes, we'll stop there. Our next episode will be a little more rapid fire, everyone. But maybe it won't be. You know, we might. We're actually going to be taking this list into 2021. All right, everyone. So
we're hoping to milk this list for about 24 episodes.
Right. So when we're ready for episode 200, we might be able to switch topics. But anyway, thanks for hanging out with us in this very kind of freewheeling episode. A lot of fun talking and catching up, and appreciate everybody listening. You can find us on the Twitter at RockInChew, and then also you can find us the same handle on Instagram, as well as if you want to listen to any episode of Rock and Roll Shin-Soo Chew, they're all at rockchew.com. So you can check those out there. And
your favorite podcast app.
Yeah, as well. You can listen to us there. And then YouTube as well. So yeah, a lot of different ways you can chew. So until next time, when we get to tackle a little more of this list, hope everybody has a good week, and we'll see you around. Thank you.
So the next 100.